I'm Mud Barron. I'm the project director. Welcome to Muir Ranch. Teacher, farmer, schlepper of plugs, and nurseryman for all school gardens in LA County at John Muir High School in Northwest Corridor, Pasadena. Alma mater to Jackie Robinson, Rodney King, and David Lee Roth. 900 kids, just about. 90% qualify free and reduced lunch. 27% special needs. 25% in group homes. All these dry statistics. 20% on probation. Made flesh when the kids show up here. The same kids that built this. Makes it for a very, very interesting school site, which is the site that recruited me out of LA Unified to replicate what we did at the San Pedro Science Center. And here it is. A lot of 50-foot beds, 4.5 feet wide, works for the kids, works for farming. And the farm itself isn't really about the farm. The thing about school gardens, at least from my experience as a high school teacher, it's the fraud of school gardens is the kids are broken. They've never started and finished anything in their lives. They come, especially from a school like this, where high poverty is the norm. Their parents are more likely to have been to prison than college. And to give them a goal, have them define it for themselves, and hold them to it, make them accountable, and then rock out with basil. So, Muir High School, Muir Ranch, named after John Muir, is historically the school with the least means, highest poverty. So when I came here, I said, look, it's not about this place, what we're about to do. It's about what we do for other people. So the irony is the school with the least, with the highest poverty in Pasadena high schools. And Pasadena High School has open enrollment. So if you can get to another school, if you can get to Pasadena, if you get to Marshall, you get to Blair, the kids can go there. The kids either go here because their parents go here, they went here. There's a depth of pride I can't even explain about the Mustangs, oh my God. Or the kids, this is just their neighborhood school, and they walk here. So I said, all right, we're gonna make this garden here, but one of the things I do, that we are gonna do, is we run the nursery for every school garden in LA County. And the work I've been doing for years is to support inspired instructors. You're a master gardener, George. You get out there and teach just right alongside the other teachers that you work with. You support them, you provide materials for them, you provide technical assistance. And honestly, for a teacher to have 2-acre classroom, and I have anywhere from 4 to 10 adults every day of the week that we're here. And we're here every morning for summer jobs. To have that one-on-one, 3-on-1 adult to student learner ratio is amazing. With the plug mob specifically, I'm dealing with companies that donate tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of material, millions of dollars of material. And if you have that relationship with a donor, and that they know that you can distribute their products, that they have extra. And the plug mobs are just like what they say, little basil plugs. The company that sells 100 million grows 110. And actually they sell 300 million plants. For them to give us 50 to 100,000 a week isn't a big deal for them. Their business model is they have more than they sell. What do they do with them? They're living material. These aren't just things. These are the children of the growers. So it's a pretty, not just a good commercial, but it's pretty wonderful that they know that they're supporting kids getting right with food, who coincidentally are going to be garden customers in 20 years. Because once they get into it when they're kids, they tend to come back when they have them themselves.
Is this replicable in other school districts?
Plug mobs or the farm?
Well, let's talk about the plug mob first.
Yeah. We've replicated it. I'm in San Francisco next month. And it's not necessarily a district thing. I mean, you've known me long enough, George.
Are you getting the plugs from the same place for San Francisco?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But, they're one company of many, and I have 2 companies that grow and donate plugs now. They're competing companies, oddly, but they're cool with that because at the end of the day, it's a positive outcome with kids in Los Angeles, which only has 1.4 million kids, which I was told when I was in the Kellogg conference in Asheville, North Carolina. I met a researcher from a university in Vermont. They're having a hard time. Their problems are they can't do any more control studies with farm to school because every school already has a farm to school. in the state of Vermont with 600 and something thousand residents. LA Unified has that many kids. The plug company doesn't give us squash or melons. So back in March, I knew that folks would be wanting to plant that when we get out of the frost danger for most of LA. So my students seeded up squash and melon trays, and those went off into the wind or wherever teachers and master gardeners and community garden volunteers take them.
So Mud, talk to me a little bit about funding. Who's paying for all this?
Well, you're looking at them for the most part. I came here having the choice of any program in Los Angeles to come to, and Doss Jones, my co-pilot and wingman on these projects, she calls herself the world's oldest intern, but I look at her more like I'm her farmhand. So Shirley, who's over there, want to pan over there? Landscape contractor, excellent human being, and the head of landscape architecture for Pasadena Unified, who on a Saturday stole a bulldozer from facilities and is prepping our rose garden beds. I don't know if you've heard about the Rose Bowl here in Pasadena. So they came with a 14-foot truck last fall, and I filled it up out of San Pedro. Everything they needed to do to create just these 4 beds here. And so Doss sent me a picture of the kids and the principal with the dahlias I gave them in the office clowning, and I said, I hate you, I'm in, fine, you got me. So we had $4,000 in Pasadena Water and Power. This used to all be field, lawn, so that was $1 a foot. I mean, remove that. That was for things like the Broad Fork. That was for things we don't get donated. Shovels, things the kids break, hose, and hoses. Shirley came in with a few $1,000s worth of irrigation equipment, and I don't know what it costs to rent one of those bulldozers because that's an in-kind thing. The other pieces of the puzzle, the kids told me when we designed the garden, they wanted jobs. I'm like, really? They weren't talking about food deserts. They weren't talking about nutrition. They weren't talking about eating vegetables or dahlias, my thing. They wanted jobs. So I had to design this garden and this program, Your Ranch, which is a nonprofit project, fiscally sponsored by the Pasadena Ed Foundation. It's been around for a long time and is an amazing, amazing host. I designed this garden with summer jobs in mind for the kids, because this wasn't done for the most part by that tractor. It was done by kids, wheelbarrows and shovels, and volunteers putting the time and energy in. And they've done an amazing job, so say you. So we're at the point where we have a couple of proposals. We just put together the farm to school proposal to fund the greenhouse, to fund a culinary kitchen program. That's a grant. We have a CSA, which I knew the kids would probably be eating the vegetables they grew. So we partnered with Tutti Frutti Farm South Central, and the kids put together a $25 CSA box, predominantly with produce from the big professional growers who need clients and market. They need that. They're sitting with semi-truckloads of heirloom tomatoes out in Lompoc. We can add to those boxes with this lovely lemon basil, which is, did you try this?
Yes, it was awesome.
Right. And this was from plugs and seed from both organics and Seeds of Change. So we can make a really nice box, and when the sun golds come in, and those don't ship well, they crack, we can literally pick in the morning and put sun gold tomatoes in one of the only boxes of CSA dump that the kids can put together with sun golds in it, and those won't even make it home. People eat those in the car. We need about $250,000 a year to really do the programs that we want. I've been volunteering. I used to be the policy deputy for LA Unified Schools. I got a decent severance when I got fired unceremoniously when Jamie Oliver came to visit. Of unemployment, that's not lovely, but it gives me time to figure out, okay, how do we fund and make this program sustainable? So I don't consider this work. That doesn't work probably with the power bill. I have a team of volunteers that also probably need to get dialed in. Our CSA manager is Erica Rudke. Her aunt teaches at the at this school. She went to Pasadena High School, which is the rival school for Muir. Antonio, 6'6", one of my best students this past year. He says, yeah, Mr. Mudd, Erica's cool. We're not going to jump her. But she's 22, has a degree from Berkeley in public health. and she was on the Mayor's Food Policy Council in Los Angeles, and I cherry-picked her to come work as our CSA manager because she said she wanted to be a farmer. And I go, well, you better learn how to sell vegetables before you learn how to grow them, because otherwise you'll be sitting out there in Lompoc along with my big farmers with a bunch of cases by the side of the field. So she's had a few months to develop a work pattern and a system so that our CSA can be expandable. For every 10 CSA subscriptions we have, a kid can get a part-time job. They can make about $100 a week. And folks in the neighborhood like seeing the kids working. Pasadena City Health is our partner, and they want us to ameliorate the food desert. When I met Dr. Walsh this past month, on his to-do list, and this is a man with a medical degree, he's a doctor, and a master's in public health. You know, top 5 of his list, gardens. The fact that we do the plug mob and we create more positive health outcomes in his terms by giving teachers and community gardens the tools they need to grow vegetables. Now that's not policy paper, that's actual policy executed. And so we're a bit of an answer to his prayers, because we've got this model that can just be expanded. And we lower the threshold for folks to have their own garden, their own food. But, you know, urban gardening has its limits. There's the skill set that's needed to be able to know when to grow kale versus basil. There's the material cost, but for us to be able to take the cost of plants and seeds, and if you look over there, you can see Dirt Henge. We're setting up a large-scale windrow system to provide compost for school gardens, right? How awesome is it to be able to provide organic compost for a school, George? You're nodding your head. Nod the camera a little bit. Give it a little emphasis, right? Awesome. Those are pieces. But, you know, end of the day, it takes a lot of room to grow food. So having 400 acres with Tutti Frutti is awesome. Having 100 acres with South Central farmers is awesome. And we're supporting their local farming efforts. They're supporting our kids getting jobs, and they're supporting people in Pasadena and wherever our customers might be by getting fresh, affordable, healthy food.
Mud, for anybody who knows you,
yeah,
you're big on dahlias.
Yeah.
So why dahlias?
All right. So if you want ever to motivate me, George, just tell me I can't do something, can't have something. So years ago, I'm a retired contractor. I used to build high-end kitchens, 14-foot long green Brazilian granite countertop islands, take 2 minutes to walk around, and a couple $100,000 to pay for. And now I build gardens for kids in LA. But when I used to be doing trade shows, I would go buy color, marigolds, zinnias, pretty things in flats, and then decorate, get my Martha Stewart on. And this Japanese-American nursery down in Gardena where my shop was, I'd roll in and have to make sure not to run over their dachshunds. And I would go look at the plants I want, but on the side of the parking lot they had these big poofy meringue looking things. And I go, man, that's good. I wish I could put those on my display. And being cranky old Japanese-American nurseryman, they said, those aren't for sale, you don't get those. I'm like, man. And so for a few years of doing that, kind of really just gave me an obsession. Dahlias, it turns out, national flower of Mexico. The Aztec name, which is my Twitter ID, and I'll pronounce it for folks who are wondering, Cocozochi. It loosely translates into, and there's some PVC right there. See that PVC? That white pipe? Water pipes. The Aztecs used it for bamboo. And we're in Southern California where the majority of our students are Latino and the majority of those students are Mexican American. So suddenly, you know, we're growing dahlias, and it's not just this amazing flower. 60,000 varieties. 60,000. My Latino students are going, how come an old white dude has to teach us what the national flower of Mexico is and what the Aztec name is? And I go, that's a question I got too. But now we know, and what can we do with it? And the whole reason why I got into this whole school garden thing in the first place, it's a different entry than others. I have a strong social justice background, and I am an old farmhand, and I learned how to be a furniture maker's apprentice. But my hobby's giving flowers away, George. Like, that's like, straight up. I don't even want to go to the farmer's market with the kids, I just want to give these flowers away. And I do plenty of that. Plug Mob is sort of like me giving flowers away to 100 folks who grow their own flowers, and that's an amazing outcome. It makes folks happy, dude. It's like, we don't get that many breaks. And so to give someone, a mom, a parent, a friend, someone I don't know, a waitress when I go into a restaurant, give them a bouquet. Day's better, life is kinder. It's the kind of Los Angeles that I want to see.